So, Jay, companies change over time. They grow, they reorganize, they add and remove business lines, they do M&A activity. When you think about your company today and compare that to what your company might become tomorrow, how does this affect your PKI architecture?
Tim, you know very well that typically PKI architectures, usage of publicly trusted certificates, but private CAs and how they're set up, quite often are built for static systems. Like really static.
I think very much so.
And we brought up earlier today in one of these recordings that, multi-purpose CAs was a thing for a long time, still is.
Right.
They're eventually getting wrung out for good reasons. And I think, Tim, nobody is doing a good enough job mapping out their PKI as a whole and how corporate structures, how they are dynamic, and how your PKI architecture is either fragile because of it or non-fragile because of it. So in other words, let's say two companies come together.
Yeah.
Or a business division is split out. Right. This is quite common.
Right.
And yet we see a lot of PKI architectures where, multi-purpose roots.
Yep. They're both sitting on the same CA, or their certs are coming out of the same pool. They're undifferentiated in any way. This is part of the business that gets split. Let's use an extreme scenario. It gets sold.
Right.
I'm going to sell this business. I'm going to sell a bunch of functions. There's literally going to be operating infrastructure. There's going to be code that's running. And it's got a bunch of certs that came out of the same pool as stuff that belongs to the parent company that didn't carve it off. And we might not even know which is which.
Tim, we had a podcast a little earlier today where I think you had said it, taking inventory of your cryptographic assets kills three birds.
Right.
I think I came up with a fourth one.
Right.
This is a fifth one.
Okay.
And this really is, guys, people who are involved even at like a higher business level, who are, thinking about business synergies when things are pulled apart or brought together.
Yeah.
M&A or otherwise. A lot of times they don't think about the underlying systems that are sometimes built at an atomic level, like a multi-purpose root. And I think that it's time to get mature as corporate entities to realize that this is why you do two things. You make sure that there's your purposes of your PKI are at an atomic level.
Right. So segmentation.
Single purpose roots.
Oh, single purpose PKI implementations, yes.
And taking inventory of your cryptographic assets.
Okay.
Right? Because if you don't do those two things, refer to the podcast we just recorded on those, and we're going to be publishing soon, you will end up having to do PKI archaeology.
Yeah. PKI archaeology. So I'm going to have to go back and puzzle out what keys and certs and CAs and use cases apply to what parts of the business. As I reshuffle the deck, you guys report to this BU now. Then what it does is it gets complicated, right? It's like, tell me if you don't agree. It's almost like a marionette, right? All the strings are parallel to each other. Now you take the marionette and you shake it around furiously, and all the strings are tangled.
It's spaghetti,
right? And this happens with your PKI as well.
It absolutely can, because trust models can get so complicated. Let's think about this one for a moment, Tim.
Yeah.
I'll throw a really pragmatic example of the marionette strings intertwining.
Yeah.
Two businesses were brought together. It made sense at the time from a business standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who were in the trenches were like, make it work. So they cross-signed 2 PKI systems that had never trusted each other before.
Right.
It's now 6 years later. Oh, we got to sell these things.
Right.
You know, that business unit didn't work out, or it worked out so well that we want to sell now at the peak of its value.
And they're completely entangled.
You're doing PKI archaeology.
Yeah.
Who's talking about this?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
This was the theme of the chats today, Tim.
Yeah.
It is what are some things that are just fundamentally important, but nobody's talking about?
So it feels like we can plan for this.
Yes.
Like we can make choices now that protect us or at least mitigate. Probably don't eliminate, but at least provide some protection against entanglement, spaghetti, mess, and the associated problems down the road. So we talked about them, right? It is definitely single-purpose routes. It is single-purpose CAs. It is clear inventory of certificates and discipline around implementing where those certificates are used. So a very common thing that you see, very common, is there's a pool and everybody just scoops out of the pool as need be. And all of the substance in the pool is identical. And that can lead to inability to trace things back to where they go.
Absolutely.
Right?
So, Tim, if you think about this, what we're trying to say is, there's so many reasons to take inventory of your cryptographic assets.
Right.
We're just sitting here on these earth couches. We've got multitudes now of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I would say this as part of your inventory taking. Remember, it was where are the certs themselves? Where are the other key materials that might not even be certs?
Right.
Where, what are the crown jewel secrets that are encrypted potentially or signed with these key material? And then, my God, if you don't have a map of your trust model, you're going to have to do PKI archaeology at a point that you don't want to. So therefore, as part of your inventory, and this is what this podcast is, what I'm trying to suggest is
add CPSs to the list.
Add CPSs to the list, because they have to map up with the trust models you have overall.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
They're very CA
and
specific.
they might be different. Like you might have different practices under different circumstances.
There you go.
Why don't you capture these as individual CPSs? Right?
Exactly.
So you can marry the important practices to the use case.
And therefore, I think that you and I not too long ago, did a reminder episode that, by the way, we don't talk about trust models often.
True.
But this highlights where trust models could smack you in the head is when you're not aware of them, you haven't mapped them out fully in your organization. You don't know where all the spaghetti strings are on your marionette. You don't want to have to map this out at the last minute. In other words, final line, PKI archaeology as a panic mode exercise might be one of the most painful things you could ever do. So don't ever become a PKI archaeologist.
Put yourself in a situation where you're not going to find yourself being forced to do PKI archaeology.
Be a PKI cartographer right now.
Nice. Okay. Don't be a PKI archaeologist. Be a PKI cartographer. I love it.
Thanks,
Jay.